The Lion Guard Legacy Torn Part 1 Return to the Pride Lands. Scene 1. The Tree of Life. Early morning. Dawn creeps slowly across the horizon, painting the sky in pale streaks of gold and lavender. The Tree of Life towers silently over the valley, its ancient branches glowing faintly as the first sunlight brushes its leaves. Wisps of cool morning mist drift lazily across the ground, curling around the tree's massive roots like living spirits. The world here is peaceful, but Kyan is not. Kyan stands rigidly at the base of the tree, shoulders squared, tail still. His once bright mane is slightly unkempt, and the scar across his eye catches the morning glow, emphasizing how tired he truly is. His chest rises and falls in a slow, controlled rhythm, the breathing of someone who hasn't slept through a night in a long time. In the distance, barely visible through the thick, shimmering forest, lies the faint silhouette of the Pride Lands. Kyan's eyes stay locked in that direction, as though staring hard enough will bring him closer. His ears twitch at the soft sound of paw steps behind him. Ronnie approaches carefully, almost silently, though she knows he senses her. Her fur gleams warm silver brown in the dawn light. She studies him, noticing the heaviness in his posture, the way his claws gently flex into the earth, the way he doesn't blink. She steps beside him but leaves a few inches of space, close enough to offer comfort, distant enough not to pressure him. Ronnie. Every morning before the sun is even up. Kyan, this isn't like you. Kyan blinks but doesn't turn. His jaw tightens. Ronnie steps in front of him, forcing his eyes to meet hers. Her voice drops, filled with worry. You've been waking before dawn every day for weeks now. You barely eat. You barely speak unless someone forces you to. When was the last time you rested? Kyan's gaze finally shifts to her. His eyes, usually glowing with courage, look dim, troubled. He exhales sharply. Kyan. Too long. He glances back toward the distant horizon, as if haunted by something only he can see. Kyan. The Pride Lands are unprotected. Vidani's guard. He hesitates, anger and guilt flickering together. They can't handle what's coming. The wind rustles the leaves overhead. Ronnie watches him carefully, her expression torn between empathy and frustration. She steps closer, touching her forehead gently to his, a gesture meant to ground him. Ronnie. You are not weak, Kyan. You're doing everything you can, but you can't carry all of this alone, not again. Her voice softens even more. You'll break yourself trying. Kyan closes his eyes for a moment, the fight draining just enough for vulnerability to slip through. But when he opens them again, the fire is back, fierce, driven, desperate. Kyan. If I don't, who will? Ronnie's breath catches. She knows that answer too well. It's the one that keeps her awake at night. She presses closer, her voice barely above a whisper. Ronnie. I will. The Night Pride will. Your friends will. You don't have to go through this battle alone, Kyan. She brushes his cheek gently with hers. You don't have to be alone, ever. Kyan looks away, the distant horizon reflected in his eyes. But a crack forms in his armor, just barely. Scene 2, the quiet moment. Kyan and Ronnie walk slowly along one of the Tree of Life's secluded forest paths. Sunlight filters through the high canopy in broken patterns, casting shifting mosaics of gold across their fur. The world around them is calm, too calm compared to the tension simmering between them. The crunch of dried leaves beneath their paws is the only sound for several long moments. Birds flit overhead, but even they seem to sense the heaviness in the air. Ronnie walks close enough that their shoulders nearly brush, but not quite. There was a time when they never left each other's side. Now every step feels like trying to close a widening gap. Finally, Ronnie exhales, a soft, aching sound. Ronnie. I miss the way we used to be, when everything was simpler. Her eyes drift to him, hoping for a spark of the closeness they once shared. Kyan doesn't meet her gaze. His eyes stay locked on the path ahead, clouded with guilt, stress, and something darker. His ears flatten slightly. Kyan. Those days are gone. He pauses, swallowing. I have responsibilities now. Ronnie's brow furrows. She slows her pace just enough to look at him fully. Ronnie. Responsibilities that don't have to push me away. Kyan stops walking. His body stiffens, and when he turns to face her, the shift in his expression is sharp, not cold, but guarded. Protective, painful. His voice hardens, not out of anger, but desperation he hasn't learned to control. Kyan. It's not about pushing you away. A beat. It's about protecting you. Ronnie steps closer, eyes searching his face for the truth beneath his words. Kyan looks down, eyes darker now. Kyan. If I fail here, the Pride Lands fall too. Everything falls. I can't let that happen. A breeze rustles through the trees, lifting Ronnie's fur slightly. She watches him, really watches him, seeing the exhaustion in his posture, the weight he's trying to carry alone. Her tail twitches with anxiety, her voice trembling with frustration and fear. Ronnie. But at what cost? Kyan. Her voice cracks just a little. You're shutting me out. The words hang painfully between them. Kyan's jaw tightens, claws digging into the earth. His breathing deepens. For a moment, he looks like he wants to snap back, or break down, or both. But instead, he looks away again, because looking at her hurts too much. Scene 3, the rising tension. They reach the end of the shaded path where the forest opens into a small sundapple clearing. The light here is brighter, harsher, exposing every flicker of emotion they've been trying to hide. Kyan stops abruptly. Ronnie nearly bumps into him, but steps back when she sees his expression. His breathing is uneven, chest rising faster than before. His tail lashes once behind him, betraying the storm brewing under his composed exterior. He squeezes his eyes shut. When he speaks, his voice is low, but strained like he's holding himself together by a thread. Kyan. I can't carry this weight with you by my side. Ronnie stiffens. He continues, staring at the ground now, unable to look at her. Kyan. It's too much, all of it, the pressure, the decisions, the danger. His voice cracks for the first time, just barely. I need space, I need to focus. Silence, a long, painful silence. Ronnie's ears flatten slowly as the meaning of his words sinks in. Her throat tightens, but she forces herself to speak. Ronnie. So you want to leave? She steps forward, tears welling in her eyes but refusing to fall. After everything we've been through. Kyan's head lifts sharply, his eyes flash, frustration, fear, love, guilt all colliding at once. Kyan. I don't want to leave you. His words echo through the clearing, startling a flock of tiny birds from a nearby branch. But his tone softens immediately after, remorse creeping in. Kyan. But if I stay, if I let myself get distracted, if I let myself be weak. He inhales shakily. I might lose everything, the tree of life, the pride lands, everyone depending on me. Ronnie's breathing hitches. She takes a small step back as though struck. Her voice trembles, the pain impossible to hide now. Ronnie. Then maybe. She swallows, eyes glistening. Maybe you're already losing me. Kyan flinches, actually flinches, like her words physically hit him. For the first time, he looks truly scared. But he doesn't answer, he can't. The clearing feels suddenly smaller, the air heavier, as if even the tree of life itself is holding its breath. Scene 4, the spark ignites. The air in the clearing grows thicker, heavier, as if the forest itself senses the fracture forming between them. Leaves rustle in a sudden breeze, but neither lion moves. They stand facing each other, breaths sharp, hearts pounding, both too hurt to back down. Kyan's tail lashes once, muscles tight beneath his fur. The strain he has been swallowing for weeks finally cracks through the surface. He steps forward, his voice is louder now, not angry, but desperate, cracking with the weight of everything he's been holding inside. Kyan. Do you think I want to be like this? His chest rises sharply. Torn between two worlds, between what's right and what I feel. Ronnie recoils, eyes widening before filling with hurt. Her voice rises, trembling with emotions she can no longer keep contained. Ronnie. So this is about you, your struggle. She steps closer, tears threatening. What about me, Kyan? What about us? The words echo off the trees. Kyan's ears flatten, his claws dig into the earth. He opens his mouth, hesitates, then the dam finally breaks. Kyan. It's never been just about me. His voice cracks under pressure. The pride lands are at risk, our home, my family, everything I grew up fighting to protect. He takes a breath, pacing a few steps, the movement frantic, unsteady. Kyan. If I don't step up, who will? He stops, staring hard at the ground as if afraid to meet her eyes. You think I don't want to be with you? His voice softens painfully. But I can't let that cloud my judgment, not now. Ronnie's jaw tightens. She steps forward, fire burning through her tears. Her eyes blaze with a mixture of fury and heartbreak. Ronnie. And you think leaving me behind is the answer? She shakes her head in disbelief. That's not strength, Kyan, that's running. Kyan flinches visibly, his breath catches. Silence slams between them, tense and electric. The forest is still, even the wind seems to stop. Ronnie holds her ground, trembling with rage and pain. Kyan stands frozen, the accusation cutting deeper than he knows, because part of him fears she's right. Scene 5, words unravel. Kyan's tail lashes violently behind him, a physical sign of everything churning inside. Fear, frustration, guilt, love, all tangled into a knot he can't untie. His breathing is uneven, his muscles taut like a bowstring pulled too far. The moment Ronnie's words hit him, something in him snaps. He takes a step forward, eyes blazing with conflict, voice cracking under the pressure he can't keep bottled anymore. Kyan. I'm not running. The force of the words startles even him. He swallows, voice trembling now despite his attempt to stay strong. Kyan. I'm fighting for a future where everyone, can live safely. His gaze flickers, pained. But it's hard to do that when I'm constantly worried about holding on to you. The confession hangs in the air like thunder. Ronnie's breath catches. She steps closer, her legs trembling beneath her, eyes shining with hurt she can't hide anymore. Ronnie. So what? Another step forward, closer than before. You'd rather abandon me. Her voice rises, broken and desperate. Pretend this isn't tearing us apart? Pretend we're not both hurting. Kyan blinks hard, jaw clenching. His chest heaves as the weight of everything, every sacrifice, every burden, finally presses down on him all at once. He looks at her, really looks at her, the lioness he loves, the lioness he's hurting. His voice softens, cracks, collapses. Kyan. Ronnie, I. But the words don't come. He can't say them, because no matter what he chases, someone gets hurt. A tremor runs through him as his eyes shimmer with unspoken guilt. The weight of his choice, the one he's been avoiding, settles heavy and suffocating. His chest tightens, his throat closes. For the first time in this argument, Kyan looks lost. The strong leader, the king, the warrior, gone. Just a broken young lion trying to choose between his duty and his heart. The silence between them grows thick and painful, as the world around them holds its breath, waiting for what comes next. Scene 6. The rift widens. The clearing feels colder now. The sunlight that filtered so gently through the branches earlier has dimmed, shadows stretching long across the ground as if the forest itself recoils from what's happening between them. Ronnie stands rigid, her chest rising sharply with each breath. Her fur bristles along her spine, not out of anger, but out of heartbreak she can't contain anymore. Her eyes glisten, tears threatening to spill but held back through sheer force of pride and pain. Her voice breaks the fragile silence. Ronnie. Maybe you're already losing me. The words land like a blow. Kyan's head drops slightly, but not in anger, in pure devastation. His shoulders slump, the facade of strength he's been clinging to collapsing in an instant. When he speaks, his voice is so low it's barely audible. Kyan. Maybe I have. The admission hangs in the air like a final, irreversible truth. Ronnie's breath catches sharply, her composure fracturing. She steps back as though the words physically struck her, her eyes widening in shock, not because she didn't fear this moment, but because hearing him say it makes it real. Kyan raises his head slowly, his eyes meet hers. And for a long, agonizing moment, they just stare at each other. Two souls who love each other more than anything, yet are tearing each other apart. Kyan's eyes shimmer with a mixture of sorrow and resignation. Ronnie's are full of betrayal and heartbreak, the kind of pain that words can't touch. No sound, no movement, just the weight of everything unsaid crushing the space between them. The wind rustles through the trees, carrying away the warmth of the morning, and with it, something fragile between them breaks, silently but completely. They stand frozen in place, close enough to touch, but farther apart than ever. Scene 7. Silence and storm. The world holds still. For several long, suffocating seconds, neither lion speaks. The only sound is the faint rustling of leaves overhead and the distant song of a lone bird, soft, fragile, painfully out of place against the tension choking the clearing. Both their chests rise and fall, their breathing quick and uneven, as if they've just survived a battle. In a way, they have. Kyan's gaze drops to the ground, eyes hollow. Ronnie stands a few steps away, shoulders trembling, tears finally gathering on her lashes. She bites her lip, trying desperately to stay composed, but her heart is cracking too loudly to hide. A breeze passes through, stirring the dust of their paws. It swirls between them like a ghost of what they used to be. Finally, slowly, painfully, Kyan turns away. Not abruptly, not dramatically, but with the heavy, dragging motion of someone forcing himself to walk into a storm he doesn't know if he can survive. When he speaks, his voice is barely more than a breath. Kyan. I need time. A shaky inhale. Space to find my strength. Then, with a painful finality. I can't do this right now. Something inside Ronnie shatters. Her legs nearly give out, but she forces herself forward a step, desperation edging into her voice. Ronnie. Kyan, don't. He stops. He doesn't look back. But he stops. The silence between them grows impossibly heavy, like the moment before lightning hits the ground. Ronnie's voice comes again, raw, trembling, pleading. Ronnie. Don't leave me. The words echo through the clearing, soft but devastating. Kyan's breath hitches, his eyes squeeze shut. His claws dig into the earth. His tail droops low, trembling with the weight of every conflicting emotion tearing him apart. For one agonizing moment, it seems like he might turn around. But he doesn't. He takes a step. Then another. Each footfall is slow, hesitant, as if he's battling himself with every move he makes. His figure fades gradually into the deep shadows of the forest, swallowed by the dimming morning light. Ronnie watches him go, tears finally spilling down her cheeks, silent and bitter as they fall to the earth. By the time Kyan disappears into the trees, the clearing feels colder, emptier, echoing with the sound of a heart breaking. Scene 8, The Tree of Life. Dawn's gray light. Dawn breaks slowly. The sky is an endless wash of muted grays and soft lavender, the colors bleeding into each other like a sorrowful painting stretched across the heavens. A cool mist blankets the forest floor, wrapping around the great roots of the Tree of Life like drifting ghosts. The air smells faintly of dew and old bark, quiet and heavy, as if the world itself is reluctant to wake. Kyan stands alone in the center of the clearing. His silhouette is sharp against the soft, awakening light. The faint glow of the dawn outlines his mane, but the shadow cast across his face deepens the hollowness behind his eyes. He looks older than he should, worn, weighed down, shaped by a choice that still aches inside him. His tail sways low, dragging through the mist. His chest expands in a slow inhale, but it doesn't steady him. Not today. A short distance behind him, partially hidden by the twisting roots and pale fog, Ronnie watches. Her stance is rigid, as if moving might shatter her completely. Her eyes are red from a night without sleep, but she forces herself to stay quiet, strong, even though she feels anything but. She doesn't step forward, she doesn't speak, she just watches, heartbreak etched in every part of her expression, hoping for something to change, yet knowing nothing will. Ahead of Kyan, the Lion Guard and Night Pride wait in a loose circle, Bunga bouncing anxiously from paw to paw, Fuli standing stiff and alert, Beshti biting his lip in concern, Ono blinking rapidly with worry. Nirmala's calm facade is strained, Surik stands with a straight, uncertain posture, and Balio shifts nervously, his ears low. Kyan walks toward them with slow, deliberate steps. Every eye follows him, every breath seems to pause. He stops in the center of the group. Clears his throat once, a quiet sound that somehow echoes through the clearing. Kyan. I've made my decision. A ripple passes through the group. Bunga leans forward, Fuli's eyes narrow slightly. Balio swallows, Ronnie tenses, her claws digging into the earth, but she remains still in the shadows. Kyan lifts his head and scans the faces of the lions and friends who have stood by him through so much. He sees worry, fear, hope, confusion, all of it aimed at him, pulling him, tightening around him, begging him silently to reconsider. He doesn't let himself look back at Ronnie. Not yet. Instead, he exhales slowly. Kyan. I'm going back to the Pride Lands. Silence drops over the clearing like a stone. Fuli's eyes widen, Ono's wings droop slightly. Nirmala closes hers, Surik straightens in alarm. Balio mutters something under his breath. Even the wind seems to halt, caught in the tension. Finally, softly, gently, Beshti is the first to break the silence. Beshti. But, why? He steps forward slightly. You've done so much here, and we still need you. Kyan looks at him, the gentleness in Beshti's voice twisting the knife deeper. He speaks quietly, voice steady but carrying the weight of all the pain from the night before. Kyan. There's more I need to do there. He lowers his gaze. Kyan. I can't stay at the Tree of Life. His eyes flicker finally, toward the faint shape of Ronnie in the mist. The moment is brief, but it breaks her. He looks away. Kyan. I have to face what's waiting for me. A pause. Then he forces out the final word, even though it hurts him more than anyone else. Alone. Ronnie squeezes her eyes shut, as if the word itself is a wound. The group is silent, not because they agree. Not because they understand, but because they know, deep down, that Kyan has already left them long before the journey begins. Scene 9. Ronnie's silent goodbye. The mist thickens around the clearing, curling between the roots and drifting like soft ghosts around the gathered lions. The world feels muted, the colors, the sounds, even the light, as if dawn itself is mourning what's about to happen. Kyan's words hang in the air. Alone. The lion guard stands frozen, unable to speak. Even Bunga's usual cheer is gone, replaced by a tight, anxious silence. And then, Ronnie steps forward. Every head turns. Her paws are unsteady, but she forces herself closer, each step slow and trembling. She stops just a breath away from Kyan, her voice barely holding together. Ronnie. Kyan, you don't have to do this by yourself. The world seems to pause around them. Kyan lifts his head to meet her gaze. His amber eyes soften instantly, filled with the love he can't hide and the pain he can't escape. For a moment, it looks like he might break. Like he might change his mind. But he doesn't. He inhales deeply, steadying himself. Kyan. I have to. He glances past her, to the great tree of life rising behind her, ancient and sacred. Kyan. For the Pride Lands. His eyes return to hers, tender but firm. And for us. Ronnie blinks, confusion and pain flickering in her expression. Kyan steps closer, lowering his head so their foreheads almost touch. Kyan. You need to stay here and keep the tree safe. A beat. You're the queen. Your kingdom needs you. Her breath catches. She tries to swallow, but the lump in her throat is too thick. A single tear slips down her cheek. Slow, warm, fragile. She doesn't wipe it away. Ronnie. Promise me you'll come back. The words tremble in the air like they're afraid of the answer. Kyan's chest tightens. He hesitates for only a second before he speaks, softly, but with all the sincerity in his heart. Kyan. I promise. It hurts him to say it. It hurts her to hear it. Because they both know promises are fragile things. Still, it's all they have left. Ronnie leans in, and Kyan closes the gap between them. Their foreheads press together as they share one final, lingering nuzzle, slow, tender, aching. It isn't rushed. It isn't desperate. It's a goodbye wrapped in hope they both know is fragile. A mixture of love, sorrow, fear, and all the unspoken words they were too late to say. When they pull apart, the space between them feels colder than the morning mist. But neither tries to close it again. Scene 10, preparing to leave. A pale morning light filters through the mist, soft rays settling over the clearing like a fragile blessing. Kyan stands at the edge of the roots, his posture straight but his breathing uneven. Every movement he makes seems deliberate, weighted, as if each step brings him closer to a path he isn't sure he's ready to walk. Behind him, the Lion Guard and the Night Pride stand in a loose semicircle, united in silence. No one knows how to say goodbye to someone they aren't ready to lose. Bunga steps forward first, eyes unusually serious. He places a paw on Kyan's shoulder, a simple gesture, but firm enough to steady him. Bunga. Hey, you got this, Kyan, you always have. We'll be right here when you come back. Kyan manages a small smile, though it doesn't reach his eyes. Fuli steps forward next. Her voice is calm, but her expression gives her away. She's scared for him. Fuli. Just, be careful, alright? Don't do anything reckless. Kyan's tail flicks with a hint of warmth. Kyan. I'll try. Beshti and Ono bow their heads in quiet support, the Night Pride offering nods of respect. Even Balio, usually carefree, keeps his distance, his ears low, expression drawn. The air is thick with everything unspoken. Kyan tightens the straps on his small satchel, takes one final breath of the cool tree of life air, and turns toward the path leading out of the valley. He doesn't look back yet. If he does, he knows he won't go. Scene 11, the first steps, into the unknown. The great tree of life looms behind Kyan, its roots stretching like ancient arms, protective, inviting, pleading. But he no longer stands within their shelter. He has crossed beyond them. Mist thins around him as he steps into the open plains, the soft grass brushing against his paws. The early light paints the world in silver blue, revealing a land that feels strangely empty without the voices he has always known beside him. The air is cool, rushing past his mane as if trying to tug him back. He does not stop. He does not look over his shoulder. Kyan. I'm leaving everything I know behind. But this is the path I must take. Each step sinks softly into the earth, an earth he has defended, bled for, and nearly died upon. Yet now it feels different, wider, colder, unfamiliar. He listens to the distant calls of birds, the rustle of tall grass, the wind threading through the valley. Somewhere far ahead lie the Pride Lands, and everything waiting for him there, memories, mistakes, responsibilities, ghosts. His jaw tightens, his breath trembles. He keeps walking. A single ray of sun breaks over the mountains, lighting the path ahead like a thin line of hope, or warning. Kyan lowers his head and moves forward, alone with his thoughts, his fears, and the promise he made. Scene 12, crossing the border. The world seems to split in two before him. Behind Kyan rises the serene emerald canopy of the Tree of Life, a sanctuary of healing, family, and the lioness he loves. Sunbeams filter through the leaves like soft threads of gold. The air hums with life there. Ahead lies a harsher palette, the sprawling savanna, dust swirling in warm currents, the horizon stretched in endless shades of sun-baked gold. The Pride Lands, his home, his burden. Kyan stops where the two worlds meet, the grass beneath him shifting from cool jade blades to brittle yellow stalks. Even the air feels different here, heavier, drier, carrying the faint distant cries of vultures and the rumble of far-off herds. For a moment, he just stands there, caught between who he was and who he must become. Slowly, he looks back. The Tree of Life is shrinking, framed by mist and distance, its silhouette softening like a memory slipping through his paws. The last place he felt truly safe. The last place he felt truly loved. His chest tightens, his voice is barely more than breath. Kyan. Until we meet again. The wind brushes his mane forward, urging him on. Kyan turns, his expression sharpening with resolve. One more breath, one more glance, and then he steps across the unseen line dividing past from future. The moment he crosses, the gentle valley fades behind him, swallowed by distance. He is alone now, with only the path ahead, long, scorching, and unforgiving. And he walks. Scene 13, First Encounter, a test of strength. The tall savanna grass sways in slow, whispering waves as Kyan moves forward, the early light casting long shadows across the plains. Every step feels heavier now, each breath a reminder that he's far from the tree of life, and even farther from Ronnie. A faint sound breaks the stillness. The soft, almost imperceptible padding of paws. Kyan freezes. He pivots sharply, claws unsheathing instinctively, amber eyes narrowing. From between the grass blades, a shape slinks forward. A lone hyena, lean and scarred, its matted fur bristling. Its grin is crooked, too wide, too hungry, a predator sensing opportunity. Hyena. Well, the Pride Land's little prince returns. Kyan lowers into a defensive stance, his voice steady but cold. Kyan. This land is protected, leave now. The hyena lets out a rasping laugh, circling him. Hyena. Protected? You're alone, and you look tired, easy pickings. Kyan's muscles coil. In the next heartbeat, the hyena lunges, teeth bared, paws striking forward. Kyan reacts on instinct. He sidesteps, slamming his shoulder into the hyena's ribs. The force sends it stumbling, but the creature snarls and leaps again. This time Kyan's claws flash, raking across its flank, drawing a startled yell. The fight is brief, brutal, wild. The hyena tries one final desperate charge, but Kyan rears back, roaring with raw authority, not the roar of the elders, but his own voice, sharp and commanding. The sound rattles the grass, sends birds scattering skyward. The hyena skids to a halt, its confidence shatters. Panting, bloodied, it stares at Kyan, at the strength in his stance, the fire burning behind his tired eyes. Then it turns and flees into the grass, whimpering as it disappears into the distance. Silence returns. Kyan stands alone once more, chest heaving, the adrenaline slowly ebbing from his veins. A bead of sweat trails down his brow. He looks toward the horizon. Kyan. This is just the beginning. With the ghost of pain and determination etched into his face, he continues forward, the journey only growing darker. Scene 14, Nightfall, alone under the stars. The sky deepens into a canvas of midnight blue, scattered with thousands of glittering stars. The moon hangs low, casting silver light across the savannah like a quiet blessing. Crickets chirp in a steady rhythm, and far in the distance, a lion's roar echoes, familiar, yet distant enough to feel like another lifetime. Kyan finds shelter beneath the wide canopy of an acacia tree. Its branches arch above him like protective arms, though nothing here can truly protect him from the weight in his heart. A small gust of wind sweeps through the grass, brushing his mane and carrying scents he hasn't smelled in moons, sun-warmed stone, wildflowers, dust, and distant rain. The scents of the Pride Lands. The sense of home. Kyan exhales shakily, closing his eyes for a moment. Kyan. I don't know what waits ahead, but I have to be ready. He lowers his head to his paws. The earth beneath him is cool, unfamiliar. Even the stars feel different from here, sharper, somehow lonelier. Yet in the quiet, a memory drifts to him. Ronnie's touch, her scent, the warmth of her fur pressed against his. The sound of her voice when she whispered his name in the dark. His chest tightens. The breeze shifts again, carrying a faint echo of the tree of life, lotus blossoms, morning mist, the echoes of healing chants. Memories of the life he walked away from, the life he's terrified he may never return to. He opens his eyes, staring up at the stars. Kyan. Ronnie, I hope you can forgive me. Another cold breeze ripples through the grass. Kyan shifts slightly, curling deeper into the shadow of the acacia tree, exhaustion finally sinking into his bones. He is alone. Alone with the vastness. Alone with his doubts. Alone with the promise he made, and the fear of breaking it. The night stretches on, long and silent, as Kyan closes his eyes and prepares for whatever tomorrow brings. Scene 15, Dawn on the horizon. The darkness slowly thins, giving way to streaks of pale amber that stretch across the sky. The first rays of dawn spill over the Pride Lands like a gentle awakening, brushing the savannah with gold. The tall grasses glisten with dew, sparkling like tiny stars fallen to earth. Kyan stirs beneath the acacia tree, blinking away the remnants of restless sleep. His muscles ache from the journey, from the fight, from the cold night, but none of it dims the fire in his eyes. He rises slowly to his paws. A soft groan escapes him as stiff joints protest, but he rolls his shoulders and squares his stance, steady and resolute. The wind carries the scent of the morning, warm dust, distant herds, the heart of the home he has not seen in so long. And then he sees it. Far on the horizon, framed by the rising sun, the unmistakable silhouette of Pride Rock cuts into the sky. Majestic, timeless, waiting. Kyan's breath catches. It feels like seeing a ghost from his childhood. It feels like seeing destiny itself. For a moment, he stands utterly still. The weight of everything, his promise to Ronnie, the responsibility he's chosen, the pain he carries, settles over him like a second skin. But then something shifts in his gaze. Not fear, not doubt, resolve. He takes one step forward, then another, until he is moving with purpose across the golden plains. Kyan. Whatever waits for me, I won't turn back, not now. A gentle breeze sweeps past him, brushing through his mane, guiding him toward the rocky monument rising in the distance. Kyan quickens his pace, the sun climbing higher behind him, casting his shadow long and lion-strong across the awakening savannah. His journey home has truly begun. Scene 16, leaving the sanctuary. The morning sun drifts gently through the towering canopy of the Tree of Life, its beams catching on drifting particles of mist. The forest feels alive around him, chirping birds, rustling leaves, distant waterfalls murmuring like soft farewells. Kyan stands at the threshold where the dense, healing forest gives way to open savanna. It is a border he has crossed before, but never like this. Behind him, the tree's roots twist deep into sacred soil, a sanctuary of peace, of recovery, of love. The place where he became whole again, and the place he has now chosen to leave behind. Ahead, the world stretches vast and uncertain, the grasslands rolling out in waves of gold beneath the rising sun. Kyan closes his eyes for a moment, letting the forest air wash over him one last time. Cool, fragrant, familiar. Kyan. Every step away from the Tree of Life is a step deeper into the unknown, but I have no choice. The Pride Lands need me. His heart pounds heavy in his chest, the echo of Ronnie's voice still lingering in the back of his mind. The promise he made, the pain in her eyes, the path he chose. He opens his eyes, and steps forward. His paws sink slightly into the rich soil at the forest's edge before pressing into the dry, sun-warmed grass of the savannah. The shift in terrain feels symbolic, softer, protected earth giving way to the harshness of the wild. The forest behind him seems to exhale, the leaves swaying in a gentle breeze as though whispering their farewell. Kyan doesn't look back. He can't. With a steady breath and a focused gaze fixed on the horizon, he strides into the golden sea of grass, the shadows of the Tree of Life stretching long behind him until they finally fade. He is leaving sanctuary, and stepping into destiny. Scene 17, the savannah stretches ahead. The savannah unfolds endlessly before him, a sweeping expanse of gold and burnt amber beneath a sky so vast it feels almost unreal. Heat radiates from the ground in wavering waves, distorting the horizon and making the distant hills shimmer like mirages. Kyan presses forward. Each step feels heavier than the last, his muscles burning from the miles behind him, but his pace never falters. The sun beats down relentlessly, warming his fur until it prickles with discomfort. Sweat gathers beneath his mane, tracing slow paths along his neck. The wind shifts, picking up loose dust and swirling it into thin spirals around his paws. It clings to his face, settling into the scar over his eye, a familiar sting that only sharpens his focus. A herd of antelope grazing nearby lifts their heads at the sight of him. Their ears twitch, their bodies tense, and within moments they scatter in a synchronized burst of motion. Kyan watches them go, their hooves thundering lightly across the plains. Birds circle high above him, vultures, falcons, and drifting flocks of starlings. Their cry slides through the quiet, haunting in the empty expanse. Kyan scans the surrounding grasslands with alert eyes, trained instincts flaring. The savannah is beautiful, breathtaking, even, with its warm colors and endless skies. But it's not safe. It hasn't been for a long time. Kyan. The land is beautiful, but it's also fragile. Every shadow could hide a threat. His gaze lingers on a distant patch of tall grass where the wind bends the blades unnaturally, too consistently. Something moves there, or maybe it's nothing. The uncertainty alone is enough to tighten his chest. He keeps walking, every sense sharpened, every muscle coiled. The journey is only beginning, and the savannah is watching. Scene 18, crossing the river. The river stretches wide across the savannah, its waters dark and swift, reflecting the morning sun like broken shards of glass. The current rushes with a constant roar, carrying debris and the distant scent of mud and fish. The riverbank is slick with wet earth, its edges lined with reeds that sway uneasily in the moving water. Kyan pauses at the edge, his amber eyes scanning the churning current. He can feel its power even before he steps in. Each ripple seems to tug at him, testing his resolve, warning him of the struggle ahead. He lowers himself carefully, placing his paws into the shallows. The water swirls around him, cool and insistent, tugging at his legs with each step. The river seems alive, trying to push him back, to make him reconsider. Halfway across, a sudden surge crashes against him. Kyan stumbles, claws digging into the muddy river to find purchase. Water splashes around him, soaking his chest and mane. The current rips at him, but he plants his paws firmly, muscles coiled with effort. Kyan. No turning back now, I have to keep moving. He forces each paw forward, bracing against the pull of the river. His chest heaves with effort, every breath sharp with exertion. The roar of the water fills his ears, drowning out even his thoughts, yet he doesn't falter. Determination burns bright in his gaze, hotter than the sun above. Finally, his paws touch firm ground on the opposite bank. He shakes the water from his mane, droplets flying like liquid diamonds in the early sunlight. The river behind him rages on, untamed and indifferent, but Kyan stands unbroken. He presses forward, muscles aching, fur damp, but his spirit unshaken. The journey continues, and the Pride lands wait ahead. Scene 19, the night sky and flickering flames. The sky darkens above the savannah, a deep indigo stretched across the horizon, dotted with countless stars. The air cools as the sun sinks behind distant hills, carrying with it the faint smell of dust and dry grass. Kyan finds a solitary acacia tree, its branches spreading wide but sparse, offering minimal shelter. He lowers himself beneath it, curling tightly against the night air. His amber eyes sweep the horizon constantly, alert to every rustle, every whisper of wind through the grass. Thoughts crowd his mind. Ronnie's determined face flashes before him, golden eyes, tail flicking with stubborn courage. The promise he made to protect the Pride lands tugs at him, a weight he carries deeper than any pack of hyenas or flowing river could impose. Kyan. I'm alone now, the burden feels heavier than ever. He shifts slightly, keeping one ear pricked toward the grasslands, muscles coiled beneath him. Every crackle of the fire feels like a heartbeat, every movement in the dark a potential threat. Yet he doesn't cower. He stares into the flames, into the distance, into the endless night. The loneliness presses down on him, but so does resolve. Tomorrow, the journey continues. Tomorrow, he must reach the Pride lands. For now, he waits. For now, he is vigilant. For now, he is alone, and unbroken. Scene 20, the first sign of danger. Dawn settles quietly over the savannah, the first rays of sunlight brushing over Kyan's fur. For a moment, everything is still, almost peaceful. Then a low, rumbling growl breaks the silence. Kyan's body tenses instantly. His ears snap forward, his stance dropping into a defensive crouch. His breath grows slow, controlled. From the tall grass ahead, the blades shiver. A leopard steps into view, lean, muscled, eyes locked on Kyan with cold, predatory focus. It doesn't blink, it doesn't waver. It simply stares, as if measuring him, as if deciding. Kyan growls back, a deep warning rumble building in his chest. His muscles coil, ready to strike if needed. The leopard's tail twitches. Then, with a sharp snarl, it slips back into the grass, vanishing as quickly as it appeared, leaving only shifting shadows behind. Kyan watches the space where it disappeared, breathing steady but heart-pounding. Kyan. This journey won't be easy, but I have to be ready. Scene 21, weathering the storm. Days pass, and the sky slowly turns against the earth. Dark clouds roll in from the horizon like an advancing army, stacking higher and higher until they smother the sun. A low, distant thunder murmurs across the plains, a warning growl from the heavens. The first heavy drops fall. Then the sky opens. Rain slams against the savannah, drenching the parched soil in seconds. Grass bends under the force, the wind howls, pushing sheets of water sideways. Kyan keeps moving. His fur clings to his body, chilled to the skin. Every step sinks into the mud with a sickening squelch. Lightning rips across the sky in jagged white scars, lighting the world in harsh flashes. His paws slip, once, twice, and he stumbles hard, mud splattering across his legs and chest. But he doesn't stop. He grits his teeth, pushes himself back up, head low against the beating storm. The rain blinds him, cold water running into his eyes, but his resolve burns hotter than the thunder above. He keeps going. Driven by purpose. Driven by something greater than the storm. Scene 22, the lonely watch. The storm finally breaks. The world feels washed and quiet, the air cool, the grass glistening with droplets that reflect the moonlight like scattered diamonds. Crickets begin their soft chorus, filling the stillness left behind. Kyan climbs a rocky outcrop, each step slow but deliberate. When he reaches the top, he lifts his gaze toward the far-off horizon. There it is. Pride Rock. A dark silhouette carved against a sky full of stars. The sight steals his breath for a moment. So familiar, yet it feels impossibly distant. Kyan stands there, chest rising and falling with long, steady breaths. His tail flicks once, a small movement betraying the storm still roiling inside him, not the one in the sky, but the one in his heart. Doubt. Fear. Hope that refuses to die. His eyes soften, and his thoughts spill into the night. Kyan. I don't know what awaits me there. But I can't turn back. The wind brushes through his mane, cold but comforting, as though the world itself acknowledges the weight he carries. He stays there a long time, a lone figure watching the stars, before stepping down to continue the journey home. Scene 23, the final stretch. The horizon glows with the soft gold of a new dawn, the sun rising behind him and casting Kyan's shadow long across the savannah. He pushes through the last stretch of tall grass, each blade brushing against his sides like whispers of a land he once knew. The air changes subtly, warmer, drier, yet achingly familiar. Kyan stops for a moment and inhales deeply. There it is. The scent of home. Dry earth baked by sunlight. Blooming acacia flowers carried on a gentle breeze. And beneath it all, the smoky trace of hearth fires on Pride Rock. His chest tightens, with longing, with dread, with everything he's been carrying since the day he left. He steps forward again. His muscles ache with every movement, worn from travel and storms and sleepless nights, but his spirit burns brighter with each stride. The tall grass parts around him as he breaks into a faster pace, paws thudding against the ground in a steady rhythm. The Pride lands stretch ahead, wounded but enduring, calling him home. And Kyan doesn't hesitate. He runs. Scene 24, arrival at the Pride lands border. Kyan slows as the terrain begins to change, the tall golden grass thinning into shorter, sparser patches. The soil beneath his paws feels different too, drier, rougher, familiar in a way that twists something deep in his chest. He lifts his gaze. There, rising from the horizon like a monument carved by time itself, stands Pride Rock, dark and towering, catching the early morning light on its edges. A symbol of home. A symbol of everything he left behind, and everything he's afraid to face again. Kyan's breath steadies, though his heart hammers. The wind shifts, brushing through his mane. It carries the sense of the Pride lands, his family, old memories, and the promise of everything waiting on the other side. But also the tension of uncertainty, the questions he hasn't answered, the wounds that have yet to heal. Kyan. This is where it all begins again. He steps forward, crossing the invisible line that separates the Tree of Life's world from the Pride Lands domain. His paw presses into Pride Land soil for the first time in months. He stands tall, eyes locked on Pride Rock. Determined. Resolved. Ready for whatever or whoever awaits him.